You get it
उसको
again?
खोल के
Yeah.
Try.
Absolutely.
I'll try to do it with a different app this time. That might work a little better.
You didn't do so well last
I
time.
know, I know.
He said that with just the right amount of snark.
हाँ लाइव जरा देखना जरा मैं देखना मेरी आवाज आ रही है
Okay, let's come here. Are we seeing my screen or my?
कोई चक्कर
seeing
नहीं
your
मेरी आवाज आ रही है
YouTube
मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो आ रही है आवाज बीच
Yeah,
में
why?
You shared your entire desktop, I think.
नहीं अभी जैसे मैं तेरे से
Here we
फोन
go.
पे बात कर रहा हूँ
There.
Okay, so here is the sky at midnight, and in a few seconds here it'll start moving.
अच्छा अब देख
Yeah, we'll drift
Oh,
across,
that's
and we'll lose the constellations and lose the. And as time goes on, I'm going at about 300 times normal speed here. And this is where it crosses into the umbra, and that's about where we are right now. But I will keep going, get all the way into the shadow, the dark part of the shadow. Right about there at around 4 o'clock. You can see that it just kind of skims across there and just barely makes it. And then all of a sudden it gets to be morning.
That line you see across the moon is the equator of the moon.
Yeah, where it says SW there, that is the equator. Oh, that's the lunar clear, but you can see the actual horizon there. And that's the end right there. So that worked a little better this time, right?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
All right, back to Rick's view of the moon.
Powered by Backyard EOS.
Yes, indeed. Let's move this over.
So somebody asked, how long is the eclipse going to last? A couple more hours. It will not fully exit until, oh gosh, probably around 6 o'clock or so in the morning, our time here in California.
But the moon is well below the horizon at that point.
Yeah, if you'll stand by here for a second, I will look up and tell you what that time is, universal time, because I know most of you are not in California.
It's around a little after 7. Oops, what happened here?
Yeah, so it will exit the penumbra at 13:49:41. 12 hours, 52 minutes Universal Time. So hopefully, wherever you are, you can convert from Universal Time to your local time, and that will tell you when this will all end. But we're a long way away yet. We're waiting to get what we call U2, which is when it is fully into the umbra. And that will happen at 11:11 Universal Time, or 4:11 a.m. here in Oakland, California.
I'll bet you guys are nice and warm in that covered observatory.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we got the little fire going here. This is nice.
completely covered
You guys
except
got
for
over the
half of it.
marshmallows.
You've got the bunny suit on, though.
That's true. Yeah, it is true. I'm getting warmed up by this infrared light.
Gotta,
Right.
gotta be careful. I've got a sunburn there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
A moonburn.
moonburn. Yeah. So we're having to make adjustments more frequently now with the exposure, and even though we're doing that, we're still getting overexposed on the it's like the western limb of the moon there.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is once it's in totality, you can adjust it so that you can see a lot more detail in the dark part of the moon.
Yeah.
It'll all have a kind of reddish orange tinge to it. Once again, we want to welcome everybody from around the world who have joined us. We are coming to you from the Chabot Space and Science Center in Oakland, California. Where it is right now 8 minutes after 3 a.m. in the morning. Almost my bedtime.
Well, I believe that that's true, Gerald. You were up really late in North Carolina, which is where I think you were, joining us for our virtual telescope program last week.
Just the other day.
That was just the other day, and it was after midnight. So, yeah, I think you're truly a night owl.
He's an astronomer.
Yeah, that's true. And
we do it in the dark, you know.
That's right. And you can't detect asteroids very easily during the day.
No, you cannot.
So Jesse says, I still don't understand why the moon goes red. Can we talk about that again?
Well, let me pull up that graphic again and we'll do it one more time.
Sure, we got lots of time.
Okay, so here's the sunlight striking the Earth on the opposite side of where we are. Some of that sunlight is passing through the atmosphere of the Earth near the surface, all the way around the circumference of the Earth. As it passes through the atmosphere, it is refracted. And the refraction separates the colors, causes some of the colors, the blue part and the green part of the spectrum, to be refracted away from the Earth's shadow. But the red part of the spectrum is refracted into the shadow of the Earth. Now, from the perspective of the moon, it's as if we are seeing a sunset all the way around the circumference of the moon.
Of the Earth.
Of the Earth, rather. And, you know, quite often when you see a sunset, you see that the sky turns kind of reddish, and it's the same idea. Refraction is refracting the blue and the green light away from your point of view, and it's refracting the red light toward you, and that's what's going on here. In fact, I'm going to see if I can find here. Nope, going the wrong direction. Very hard to do this with. Here we go. So this is the point of view you would have if you were on the moon right now, looking back toward the Earth. The sun would be on the opposite side of the Earth, and all around the circumference of the Earth, where the atmosphere is, light is being refracted by the atmosphere, and that red part of the spectrum is entering into the shadow of the Earth. So instead of having a black shadow, you get a reddish shadow.
Very well put.
All right. Rick, it's back to you.
Okay, let me grab it.
लाइट बंद कर दो
So Paco asks, if something was to hit the moon in the dark side, would it show during the eclipse?
Yes, it would. In fact, in the year 2019, observers were doing pretty much the same thing that we're doing now during a total solar eclipse. And exactly that happened. There was an impact, and it was an impact on the part of the moon that was in the shadow. So for a very short period, you saw a bright flash. It was not very big, just a little tiny flash in the part of the moon that's dark. And later on analysis, they realized what they had seen was a impact in that part of the moon.
Hello.
Pretty cool.
Hello.
So it can happen. About half of the moon is covered by the inner umbra shadow of the Earth.
You know what I'm looking at too, Gerald, is the curvature of that shadow. It is kind of amazing, and you might think that it would be a straight line, but it actually shows a curvature.
Yeah, it's a very definite curve there.
Well, that must mean that the Earth is round.
Did we prove it?
Yes.
The Earth is round?
Well, we at least proved that it's a circle.
Right.
That's right. In 2 dimensions here.
You know, there's this misconception that a lot of people have that prior to Columbus discovering America, that people thought the Earth was flat.
No.
Actually, that's not true. More than 2,000 years ago, they already knew that the Earth was round, and one of the indications they had was exactly what you're seeing now. The fact that the Earth's shadow moving across the moon had a curvature to it, and that was one of the indications that it was a round Earth, not a flat Earth. In fact, the first attempted measurement of the circumference of the Earth was done about 2,300, 2,400 years ago by a guy named Eratosthenes. And there is a crater named Eratosthenes. And there is a crater named Eratosthenes. And there is a crater named Eratosthenes.
I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not.
Well, there's some interesting comments, but I won't comment about them. So the moon is about a third of the way into the umbra right now, and I have to stand up in order to see it anymore. It's getting way over to the southwest now. But yeah, it's very pro now.
Yeah, the view that we're seeing on screen right now live is actually what we're seeing with our naked eye, basically. So just gazing up past the telescope here, the view to the naked eye is exactly what you're seeing right now. And I don't know if you could notice the moon itself seems to be wavering a little bit. We're looking through a lot of atmospheric moisture, and that's one of the problems being so close to the ocean here, is that we have to contend with high humidity levels, and you can see that in the waviness of the image. I hope that's coming through on the live stream feed.
Yeah, we're able to see that.
So I'm down in Southern California that Griffith Observatory has gotten clouded out. So
Oh my!
we may be getting a lot of visitors that were viewing their site come back to our site at this point.
Well, I hope they're
so welcome all of those people.
Yeah. I hope they're using our feed.
Yeah.
We're planning on using theirs if we were cloudy.
That's right.
It's only fair.
We get along with those guys.
It's the History Channel that we have problems with.
You might have to explain that.
Yeah, I'll have to explain that. So we were doing a program, I think it was like our second or third virtual telescope program, which the three of us, actually the four of us now, do every Saturday night at either 9:30 in the summertime or 9 p.m. The rest of the year, where we do live views through the 36-inch telescope using cameras much like this. And it was a full moon, and Gerald showed a photograph that he had taken of the full moon, which had a lot of detail in it. And we were going back and forth between that photograph and the live views. And a day later, I received a notification from Facebook saying, your video has been disputed for copyright protection. And I was like, what? We were copyright protection. We're doing this live. And then, what copyright protection? And then digging further, it was Gerald's photo of the moon that had triggered the copyright protection. And it turns out that the History Channel had an image that the algorithm was considering identical. Which is no surprise, because it's a picture of the moon.
A picture of the moon. It's
So the video was made inaccessible for like a week until my dispute of their claim was processed by a human being. And then they said, oh yeah, it's a picture of the moon. And they released the video. So ever since then, we've been making jokes about the History Channel. Well-deserved ones, I may add.
Gerald is giving an interview to a news person out there on the deck right now, so we won't hear him say Umbra for a while.
Oh, is that what's going on? I was wondering what all
Yeah.
the noise was all of a sudden. I was going to start shushing them. I'll have to mute my microphone soon if they get any louder.
So we're almost halfway into the Umbra now. We're getting there.
That's right.
Got a little ways to go. So as we said before, we've got visitors here up at Chabot, and that's why Richard is talking to some of the people that are walking by right now.
And the visitors who are here this evening, they're from they're East Bay Astronomical Society and Chabot members, I believe, correct?
Yeah, I think they're mostly from the Chabot, what they call their Stellar Society, the donors that contribute a lot to Chabot each year. So they got first choice, and they I think they sold out the 25 slots that were available.
Yeah, I can only imagine how many people we would have here on the deck watching the eclipse live if we were not under COVID protocols.
Yeah, the last time I remember that happening, we had a lunar eclipse. We had the deck completely full of people. There were quite a few. And as I recall, that time it was actually somewhat cloudy, and only every once in a while the moon would kind of appear out from the clouds, and everybody would cheer.
Yeah,
tonight we've got a really good night. It's nice and clear the whole night.
No, this is amazing here tonight. I mean,
We lucked out.
I hesitate to say this, but there's not a cloud in the sky that I can see. Oh, I shouldn't have said it.
Yeah, don't say that stuff. I'm going to steal the view for a second. I want to see how it looks on the other services.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Pretty soon we're going to get to the end of our reach with Nellie here. Actually,
Yeah.
a little ways to go yet.
That's why I want to every once in a while take the view so I can see what it looks like on the field.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's going to be the only view we have. So yeah, it's like the same settings for both of us seem to work the best.
Yeah, so Nellie can track pretty well right down to about 15 degrees above the horizon. It will actually track a little bit farther than that, but after that, we kind of have to stop. And tonight it'll be a bit higher than that because of the wall of the observatory might kind of block the view.
Well, I guess the clouds aren't all over Los Angeles. Lorianne just said she's in Burbank and she's watching from the kitchen window. Beautiful, from beautiful downtown Burbank.
Yeah, it just depends on where you are, I guess. There's a lot of people, or a few people have commented about it clouding up down there.
Oh, I hope it's warmer.
We've got them
down
from
there.
all over the world, too.
Well, there's one thing to be sure of. It's certainly warmer in Southern California. I'm looking at
Usually,
the temperature.
Yeah.
It's a balmy 52 degrees Fahrenheit right now.
Where?
Yeah.
Here? Or, yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, I was
right
about
where
to
I'm
say.
sitting.
52.3 degrees is about it, in fact, according to our official weather station. Starting to get up there.
Yeah, that's not good. I may have to fabricate a dew shield for my telescope here.
Right. I'll explain that. 77% humidity is close to our limit. We have a limit of 85% here before stuff really starts getting tricky for the telescopes. The moisture starts condensing on the optics and it deposits dirt there, and that's really bad for the telescopes. So we usually have to shut down at about 85% humidity.
All right, Rick, why don't you bump me off unless you need to take a break?
All right.
Great, thanks.
Somebody says it's 26 degrees here in Barrow, but is that Celsius
It's probably
or is
Celsius.
that Fahrenheit? I think it's probably
If it's
Celsius.
Fahrenheit, if it's Celsius, it's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Altitude.
39 degrees in Alberta.
Oh my! I'm gonna stop complaining.
We're going to get weather reports from all over the world right now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's kind of cool. I like that. I have to refresh my screen here. I'm not seeing those comments. Here they come. Oh, I've got to block some.
Well, we have a moon feed that shows it during the full eclipse. Yes, we will. We're going to continue going right until it goes all the way into the umbra. Does it count if I say umbra?
No.
No, you're
Gotta
allowed
be
to
Ger-
say
gotta be
it.
Gerald.
It has to be Gerald. Okay.
For you, they're waiting for penumbra.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to answer that question. What is the temperature of the umbra? Well, I mean, obviously it's going to be a lot colder when you're, in the Earth's shadow. I mean, if you had a thermometer on the moon and you compared it to when you're fully illuminated by the sun to when you're in the Earth's shadow, it would be a dramatic change in temperature, right?
Yes. But that's the temperature of the moon in the umbra, not the temperature of the umbra.
The umbra. Yeah. There is some temperature from the light.
I guess you're right.
Attracted by the Earth.
Yep.
But I wouldn't even know how to begin to answer that.
Right.
But it makes me think, though, if an astronaut was standing on the moon during this eclipse, his spacesuit would be going from air conditioning to heating.
Right.
Pretty quickly, and hopefully both work well. Okay, Sandy, you were kidding. So, we're just getting tired. We can't tell anymore. We almost had an answer, though.
We'll answer anything, whether it's
We'll answer
right
anything.
or not.
If we can't answer it, we'll make something up.
Exactly. Wow, that moon's getting into the shadow there.
It certainly is.
Yeah, it is.
Getting pretty dark. And here comes Gerald. He's back. He can start saying umbra again.
One of the interesting things about the camera that Rick is using is that it's had the infrared filter removed, and I notice very, very clearly that it's more sensitive to the color. So when I compare your images of the moon to the one through my camera, you get the interesting shades of color. They're kind of subtle, but it's kind of a brownish and reddish shade. And I was noticing it earlier as well. This isn't just from the eclipse.
Yeah, it'll probably really show up though when we get further into the eclipse there.
Yep.
Actually, I'm starting to see color just to my eye, just naked eye here. I mean, you guys seeing this? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not really seeing it though on the camera.
I see it. I see it particularly around the upper left portion.
Right up here.
Right in there, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a significant amount of color there. I'm having to really play around with exposures here because they're changing
me too.
very, very quickly.
Okay.
75 degrees Fahrenheit in Tucson. They win. That's what they say.
Oh, that sounds like the place to be.
Yeah.
So
Well-
have you guys said umbra lately?
Yeah, but it didn't count because it wasn't you.
That's right. But we heard you say it to somebody out on the deck.
Yeah, I was out there doing a TV interview. The TV crew up here. How I felt about it. I was all ready to answer.
Well, Gerald, how did you feel about it? What's interesting is as the eclipse progresses and more of the moon's surface is being covered by the shadow, you can see faint stars nearby, like Delta Scorpius there. I see one Antares as well. But stars that were not visible when the moon was full are now plainly visible.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, very much so.
That's interesting. Makes sense.
Oh, and just for the record, guys, while I did the TV interview, I said umbra twice.
Oh,
Well, that's okay.
that's all?
Yeah.
How are we doing on angular distance from the zenith there, Gerald? For the telescope.
We are at 69.2 degrees.
Yeah.
We got a ways to go yet.
Yep.
We found out during a previous event that we could actually track past the 75-degree mark, but we just couldn't move it fast if we needed to get off of there. So we're good.
Our humidity is starting to become a little bit of a concern. We're up to 79% again. We need to get it to go the other way.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the satellite view, and there's a little bit of fog starting to form out off the coast of San Francisco here. That's not good.
No. I'm thinking I might put the cover on my scope, so in case you have to close up, mine won't be dewed up.
Okay. Are we looking with yours or with Rick's?
Right now with Rex.
With mine, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have a dew heater around the objective of our finder scope, and that's will prevent that from getting fogged
good.
over. Yeah.
Good.
Let's see if we can adjust the image. It's too bright.
Oh dear, my coffee got cold.
Yeah, I just noticed the same thing. Amazing how that happens.
Yeah.
Well, this is an amazing coffee cup. It's still lukewarm after all this time.
Now, Richard just walked away to go get some more coffee. Did he? Did he ask us if we wanted?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
That's not very considerate, Richard.
So, Rick, what would happen if you adjust your exposure so we can see a little bit of detail on the dark side of the room?
Let's.
Yeah, let the light part wash out and see what we can see.
Yeah.